Happy Saturday, everybody. It's Andy, and today is the first Saturday in 2025. Amazing, huh? So, I wanted to talk quickly about audiobooks. I said I would do a couple of videos in a few weeks about audiobooks and review, 6-month review of The Cave here. I'll be doing a review of this in a couple weeks, but today I'm going to spend a few minutes, 10 or so, about audiobooks. Because audiobooks is my jam, right? It's what I do most. It's what I do. I try to do other stuff, but all I've been successful in is audiobooks, and I'm not going to complain because you know the raft of the voiceover world or anything really will land you on the island it chooses. Sometimes the currents carried me to audiobooks early and have kept me there. So I'm like Tom Hanks looking for Wilson. So audiobooks, I've been told are, and I do agree, are the marathons of voiceover work because you're generally doing books that are between, 5 and 12 hours for the most part, but there are books that are longer. And when you do dual narration books like I often do with romance, it's pretty much romance style books, it's usually half that. So a 6, 7 hour book, you're doing 3.5 hours, usually, which is great because you can crank them out quickly. So if you can do 5 romances that are 3 hours apiece, that's 15 hours a month versus 2 books that are 7 hours. Same difference, right? And the pay is the same or better. Romances do well. People like them. So how did I fall into audiobooks? I may have told the story. It was a whim. Actually, it wasn't even a whim. I was never even considered. I mean, if you look at my main website, it's about me. Let's talk about the end of the world because I like post-apocalyptic stuff. But I'll do fiction, genre fiction. I'll do nonfiction. Um, and I'll do other types of books. But apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, that type of stuff, military thrillers perhaps, political thrillers. Those are Andrew's main jam. The other guy does romances of all kinds. But that came about because a woman reached out to me many years ago about a book. She thought I sounded good for her book, for her romance. And I auditioned for her real quick, and she loved it, and the rest is history. So I've done a lot of books, royalty share romance, and in the last couple years I've done a metric F-ton for publishing houses, mostly for Tantor and Podium. I don't think I've done any for B Audio or Scribe that are romance. Scribe's mostly nonfiction. B I've done both kinds, but most of my romances are under the Podium and Tantor bands, flags. So the point is that it didn't happen overnight. I started doing this back in 2011 to look into voiceover, and I fell into audiobooks because ACX was very new back then, like 6 months old, and I saw it. And before coaching and any of that stuff, I got into it. Got a book from Jacqueline Druga, who I mentioned before. It was called Then Came War. And she loved the way I did the old man in the book because he was the main character. And he talked like this. He was just an old guy, and I thought he'd talk like that. And she loved that voice, and so that was the voice. And that got me started. She's prolific. So I had a lot of books with her. I hooked up with some other authors. Jake Bible was another one. The Z Burbia series was still probably is the best-selling series I've ever had. Jake has the rights back to that now because it was over 7 years ago, and he wanted to capture the full rights to it. So, of course, it's his books. So, yeah, easy, no problem. There's no skin loss. I have skin in the game, but I don't have feelings hurt. And after a while, 7 years, I'll take what I got out of 7 years of those books. But the point is that I fell into it. After I fell into it, I was coaching for like other stuff back then, and when I started. And typical, I want to get moving, and I see it now, and I understand it. I do. I want to get into this. I got lucky, and when I got lucky, I got better equipment. I got coaching. First off, Pat Fraley. I attended a few seminars. Johnny Heller. I did acting for audiobooks with Joel Leslie Frumkin in his acting for audiobooks class. I think he has an advanced one. And if I had time at night, I would do it. I work nights, so it just doesn't work for me now. PJ Oakland Day and Institute does the audiobook master classes where they have them twice a year, at least once a year. And there's like 6 producers from the different publishers. and you pay for all 6 sessions, which I think it's like $750, or you pay for just 1 or 2 or 3. It's like à la carte. You can do them all or just a couple or 1. Excuse me, and then you read for them. It's usually you and maybe, I don't know how many other people, 15. It's a 3-hour session. It's online, Zoom. You sign in, you're there, you watch others read, you listen to the feedback they get, and then you go. And you pick whatever you want. I've done romance, I've done sci-fi, I've done post-apocalyptic, I've done the Russian accent for him, and for doing that for PJ was kind of a silly, crazy move because he's Mr. Dr. Dialect. But he liked it. And it helps a lot. Shows you where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. I think for audio books and that kind of voice acting, I have a natural talent and a knack for it. And it's not all about your voice. It's about, I've said it before in the Before You Ask videos, it's about your ability to be counted on to finish the project. It's about your ability to do the acting, of course. That's a big part. But just because somebody tells you at a party, your voice is wonderful, you should do voiceovers. Well, okay. First, you got to figure out what kind of voiceovers. And then you got to figure out if you can do it. Because some people have a wonderful voice and they just can't do it. I can throw a Frisbee really well for a 53-year-old guy. Doesn't mean I'm going to join a professional Frisbee league, nor does it mean I can throw a football as far. It's just not in my makeup to be a professional athlete now, of course, and never before when I was a kid. No, just wasn't in there. So the tide will take you where it takes you. You help yourself by putting up the proper sails. And this is a sailing analogy, even though I don't know how to sail other than putting up a sail and hoping it works with the wind. But you have to have the proper sails. You've seen movies with big ships and masts and all kinds of different types of sails. The different types of sails are like training, equipment, your skill and ability to get things done on time and be reliable, communicate with the publishers, your fellow narrators if you're doing a dual narration type book, do research on your own. And I mean, not just as you're starting out, but throughout. Youglish, Forvo for pronunciations and things, YouTube for other pronunciations, good old-fashioned Webster's Dictionary, things like that, Merriam-Webster. You go to these different sites. A lot of it you can do on your own. The amount of information out there is really almost overwhelming. Almost overwhelming. And this is an audiobook-centric book. So how did I get to where I am? With 374 books currently out there, 2 in the quality checks with ACX and Audible that should come out in the next week, and another 20-something in production through June. And I'm booked solid through March. I do my job well, which is why I get continued work from the big publishers, because they can rely on me, and I'm good at what I do. But it didn't happen overnight. It's 2025. I started this in 2011. First book went out in June of 12. And I do this part-time. I work full-time. So could I make a living doing this? I'm pretty sure I could if I had the hours to, but having a job kind of puts a cramp in my style, so I can't. Sorry, my voice is a little rough. I've been doing a lot of books. This is my special throat coat tea. Thank you for indulging me. So it takes time. I will tell you right now, audiobooks is not a game for fast cash. It's not. So if you got that in your mind, you can turn the video off or go find something else. Audiobooks takes time. It takes a lot of effort. You have to read it and you have to prep it and then you have to record it and then it has to be edited and proofed and then mastered out to sound pretty. Can I do all that on my own? Pretty much. I have a ton of books out there that are all done by me. I engineered out and everything. When I work for publishers, they do all that work. It's great. But I can do it with what I've got and what I've learned over the last decade. I can do it, and I've done it. I've produced a couple of books with another narrator. We worked together on a book that an author paid me to do the full production on. Came out, it's fine. Sounds good. If it sounds good, it is good, but you can get help with that. So I'm going to attach links to the description. I don't feel like putting them in the video because I don't have time. It takes time to put them in the video with all the special effects. But I just wanted to make a quick video, not spend hours and hours on it because there are other videos out there. But I wanted you to get a perspective if you watch me at all or share this with somebody. about not just voiceovers, but specifically audiobooks. Audiobooks, because I know that. I know that of which I speak. I'm not I would not consider myself A level, but I think I'm close. I've been nominated for numbers of awards, and I'm always the bridesmaid or the groomsman because I never win, but I'm nominated often and with big names. So if for me those are wins just to start with. If you get nominated in a category with somebody like Simon Vance or Marcy Bray, I already won because I'm in their group. Come on. So yeah, I love doing audiobooks. I want to expand out. I've said that before, but I'm not stupid and looking my gift horse in the mouth. Audiobooks pays for a lot of fun stuff, and it's a great supplement to my pretty good income in retirement that's coming down the pike here in less than 3 years. And I want to do it full time because I love it. I love this. What I do day to day or night to night, I do because I have to, because I've been in it so long and it pays the bills truly. But I don't love it. I haven't loved it in years. But I'm going to finish. This I love. Playing with microphones of all kind and making these stupid videos for people to maybe learn one item that will help them. It's fun. But getting in the moment, being in the book, reading the story, sharing that, knowing that thousands of people are hearing what I'm reading, and for the most part enjoying it. Some people hate me. Okay, good. You're never going to please everyone, so if you can't take bad reviews, then you better not try this either. So yeah, that's the gist of audiobooks. You have to start by getting coaching. Spend a little bit on equipment, but spend your time with coaching and learning how it works and learning how to read these and perform. You're really performing these books to give your listeners the best experience. Because if they don't like you, it could hurt the series, or it may just hurt you. How do you get with a publisher? Well, my road to that took a while. I did a lot of books through Royalty Share. In 2025, I will hit 100,000 Royalty Share sales title. Those are the books that I get a cut of over the past decade, or more than a decade now. Some people have done it a lot faster. Some people have a couple million under their belt. Kevin Pierce. But I think that's a pretty good number. I'm proud of it. But in the last 4 years, I've gotten with publishers. How did that happen? Here's the story. So I've done a few books before that were eligible for SAG-AFTRA membership into the union. In order to be eligible for SAG-AFTRA as an audiobook narrator, voice actor, you only literally have to do one book at the union rate and get paid through a paymaster. That will give you eligibility. I did a book that was just over an hour and a half, had it done through the paymaster, got my eligibility, joined the union. Why? Because the same author had a very popular book he wanted to get done. He got the book picked up by a big publisher. He wanted me to do it because I had done all his books for the last few years, like the vast majority, not all, but almost all, as well as for the other publishing group that he's a part of. It was a very popular series. They said no because he's not union. That made all the difference. So I knew I had to join. Now, once I joined, doors began to open. And that's the story. It's really that simple. I had quite a inventory of books, a resume of books already, probably at that time well over 200. And joining the union opened the doors that I needed to be open for me. And I haven't looked back. Now you'll hear about FICOR and staying solid union. That's up to you. That's a choice you have to make. I know for a fact that most of the publishers, don't care if you're FICOR or not, as long as you're a union. Because if you're eligible to join and you joined, and you were eligible to join and you joined. It's that simple. They still pay the pension and health. They have their signatories to SAG-AFTRA contracts. But the choice of that, of FICOR, which is a whole other subject that I'm not going to get into because it's not worth it. It's something you need to decide to do on your own, and it's not an easy decision for anybody. But it's something to consider. if you want to have more opportunities in the world of voiceover, because the vast majority of jobs in the world of voiceover are not union. And as a FI-Corps member, you can do those jobs. As a union member, as a regular union member, you cannot. You violate the contract, and that's no bueno. FI-Corps allows you to work union and non-union jobs. You just simply become a non-fee paying member of the non-member fee paying. I forget the hell it is, but you're fee paying. You're not a member, but you are, because you have a SAG-AFTRA number that you always have. You just don't keep the card, and they still pay pension and health. So it's up to you. There's one or two smaller publishers out there who only want solid SAG-AFTRA non-FI-Corps people. Whatever, they're in the minority. But that's a choice you have to make. I'm not advising anybody anyway on that. That's a personal choice, and neither one is wrong or right. It's up to you. But you will have to join SAG-AFTRA once you gain eligibility if you want open doors into the publishing world, to the bigger publishers like Recorded Media Books, Recorded Books, RBM, and Podium, and what's the other one? Penguin Random House. All those. For the most part, if you're not a union, if you're not SAG-AFTRA, you're not going to get any business with them. Could you make it without them? I guess. I would want to try, but you could, I suppose. There's a lot of independent authors out there who would love to have people produce their books. That doesn't mean you shortchange yourself on your rates, but it just means you could. But that's a you choice. I joined because I was an audiobook guy, and it helped, and here I am. So all that is to say that audiobooks are an island unto themselves in the voiceover world. Not everyone can do them. There are A-list voiceover actors who wouldn't touch an audiobook for $1 million. Well, maybe they would, but they avoid them because it's just not up there. It's not in their wheelhouse, not up their alley. I mean, some guys can get on a mic in a studio, spend 2 hours, get paid for the 2 hours, a session fee, and then, do a commercial for whatever that ends up being, like I said, 30 seconds for the new 2025 Lexus, blah, blah, blah. And they get paid 5 figures or more if it's a national ad, right? And they're done. Versus a 5 or 6 hour audiobook that will take you no less than 20 hours when it comes down to it in the end. I can get a book done, like I said, 1 hour of recorded audio will take me up no longer than 2 hours to do. So I'm 2 to 1. And maybe that's even long for books. I'm not going into how I do it and what my secrets are. That's mine. But if you get good at it, you can do it. And I do it because I pump out a lot of books. 44 in 2024. I have no idea what will come up in 2025. I will cross 400 books. I have them in the popper, but they're not out yet. And until they're out, I don't count them. I will cross 400 books completed this year. I will cross 100,000 books sold through RS, royalty shares through ACX and Audible this year. And I will continue until I can't, because I do love it. And hopefully I do a job that's good enough. I think I am, because the folks come back to me because I think they can count on me. And it's a lot to be said for that. So I'll put in the links to Narrator's Roadmap and the Dan classes that have passed, other stuff for training. If you want to do audiobooks and you wanted to spend almost 20 minutes listening to me talk about how to get into it, again, I started with ACX. It grew from there, and over years, I learned some lessons about SAG-AFTRA and all that stuff. 20 minutes versus 5 or 10 years. Hopefully that helps. Anytime you have questions, leave a comment. Email Andrew at abwvoiceovers.com. I'm here to help if I can. I'm here to give advice. Like I said, I've been around a while. I can take criticisms, but I'm happy to give advice if I can. If I don't have an answer for you, I don't have an answer. Or I can point you in the direction that there is one. But the resources that exist for people who want to get into this universe I can't even count them. So if you want to do it and you feel like you can, you don't need a booth. You don't need a $500-$600 microphone. You get a used laptop, get a USB mic, or get a nice, like a Scarlett 2i2 or something. You can get a really nice interface for less than $200-$300. Yeah, you're gonna spend a little money to start, but if it works out for you, then you can spend more money down the road to move up. I told you I started with a used computer I got at an auction, a $199 AKG microphone, a $150 preamp. I think it was a Scarlett 2i too, I think. Um, the monitor, I think it was one I had. It was an old TV or something, and a closet that I spent, I don't know, maybe $100 on padding, the stuff that's up here you can barely see, that kind of thing, the Orlex. Did it myself. It was 30 inches by 30 inches. I was cramped in there. It was so small. I mean, it was small, and I did that for a decade. And then I did 6 months in a rental house when we had this house renovated in a larger closet, but I put it together with more foam and moving blankets, and it sounded good. I did books in there. And like I said in another video, my promo demo, which got nominated for a Soulboss Award, was made in that booth with J. Michael Collins. So you can do it. You have to spend wisely, do your research, and do it. So for audiobooks, I can give advice. I have a good background at this point to say I kind of know what I'm doing. So if you have any questions, please email me. Drop a comment on here on the old YouTube, and I'll answer it. May not see it right away, but I always answer. I always answer. So I hope everybody's 2025 is off to a cold start, but a good start. We're getting snow here, which I hate. I hate snow, but we have it. And hey, I have to work that night too. But I've been doing it for 25 years, so whatever. But not much longer. So I wish everybody well. I hope everybody has success in the things they try to do, even if it's not audiobooks. I wish you all success. I wish you all good health. And thanks for listening to me ramble on for you. God bless. Take care.